Well, it was a bit of a wait, but we're on our way now. And so here we are in Malaysia, specifically Port Klang. But we're not going to be here for very long, as there's really not much going on here. So, we're taking the bus out to Kuala Lumpur. It'll get us to the capital, we'll wander around, and pretty much be without guides, without fear, without research, and without a plan. So, it's going to be interesting to see how this one breaks down. Perhaps I'm going to wind up with a half hour of unbreakable footage like I did in Busan. Kind of hope not. It's easier to digest in smaller doses, I think. The problem is just going to be trying to figure out how to break it down like that. Took the better part of 2 hours to get here, but that's traffic for you, among other things, and the speed limits and everything like that. But we're here, we're on the walkways above the actual streets, which makes things a lot easier. I understand if we go back that way, we might find ourselves at the Petronas Towers. Still thinking about it. Well, we have ourselves a meeting point, and I am wandering through what amounts to another mall. It feels a little more open air, but I guess it's not. I think that's a ceiling above me. So we're actually inside in a series of walkways and stuff like that. The streets are below me by about 2 floors or so. And while I've seen a couple of currency exchanges, when you don't have a lot in the way of currency to begin with, it doesn't really help. I'm still looking for a bank and a cash point. And yeah, this time around I think I'm going to get some actual local currency because, you know, even if I don't spend it here, I'll spend it at our next port, Penang, I think. But at least I'll try. There's still having to do the math in your head every time we stop somewhere is a little complicated. Here it's about 4.5 ringgit to the dollar, give or take. It's kind of like the exchange is like 4.8 if we're buying ringgit, 4.4 if we're selling it to you. And I'm like, oh wow. I have yet to find an actual bank and an ATM, so we'll see where we go from here. I mean, obviously, these sort of stores probably would just as easily take credit cards, so this isn't that much of an issue. Although, to be fair, there's not a whole lot here that really grabs my attention yet. I'm not hungry enough to go to one of the food courts, and everything else is kind of like, I think you could find most of this at home, or it's high-end fancy stuff that I'm not interested in to begin with.
Although if and when I do get hungry, there are places that I can recognize and that I don't, but still could appreciate what they have to offer.
Another currency exchange. Don't they even have banks and ATMs down here? A little annoying, really. Now, I was hoping the local 7-Eleven might have an ATM here, but no luck. I should have known if I didn't see it in the front. Not the same back at, like back in Japan or anything.
I'd feel better if I had something like this.
Okay, one more proof that the ATMs are better than the exchanges. We got just short of 4.6 to the dollar, so I took out a little more than 100. That'll keep me for the next couple of days, at least. And I think I've got tip money now, too. That's why I spend US dollars when I've got ringgit that these guys can use immediately. I'm amused to find myself at a display for the attack on Taipei. But at the same time, I don't know how I got here and how I'm going to get out to where I need to be. And yes, I know I've got 3 hours to do so. I hate to be so time conscious, honestly. I would worry so much less if I knew how I got here. Because I do remember going through Fahrenheit, which is the name of this mall, in order to get outside. Now that I've gotten back in, I'm still trying to get back to the walkway that I came So, well, I'm out on the street, so that's something. Whether that's getting me in the direction I want to go or not. And all I'm really wanting to get to is a reference point where I'm like, okay, I know where I am, I know how to get to where I need to be at the end of the day. But otherwise, there is a fair amount to take in. A lot of little street shops for food and whatnot over here. So a lot of places to stop for something to eat or a souvenir, although I think I have my share of souvenirs at this point. The only thing that would be at this point is to go, oh, I paid too much back wherever compared to what they offer now, perhaps. And there's no guarantee that's going to happen either. Just kind of make my way through, try not to crash into anybody, and take it all in as best I can. Now, if I was into Malaysian culture, I'd be a little annoyed at this because you've got too much Japanese in your Malaysia. But since I haven't gotten enough Japanese, I'm kind of okay with this. Maybe I'll stop and have curry or sushi. And wow, they've got that here too. Honestly, I'd be impressed by this place if I was a little bit more aware of where I was. If I could get to where I need to be, if I knew where that was, I think I could wander around here and look around with a little less, I seem to be photobombing somebody, with a little bit less of concern. I know I've got plenty of time, but I also know just how fast that disappears. And I hate to have to be so concerned about it, but that's where we are. Just take one direction and see where it goes from here. Now, I still don't know how I got to the Fahrenheit Mall from where I started, but I think I know where I'm going, because as I recall, the place we were dropped off and considered our meeting point had something in here about, of all things, a long since dead company called Toys R Us. I'm back where I need to be. Sure enough, here's the pavilion with all the pink flowers where we're supposed to meet. All right, great. I have my reference point, and heck, I may go back the very opposite way, or basically the way we came in, and see if I can't get to Petronas Tower after all.